would say, I don't think I'm going to put that line down that piece of paper because it'll end up, I'll lose it anyway. That's what, so it really was a joyous experience in the sense that I think we all sort of grew up on this show. We didn't know the things we weren't allowed to do. And so we did them, and people let us do them. We were very, very lucky, all of us.
I think, and I've learned this since, is that so much of it is motivational. So much of it has to do with bringing people together who really are truly enthusiastic and believe in what they're doing. And I think when that happens, and that did happen in our case, it creates something that isn't. I mean, it's beyond what you can afford to put on the screen or even what's possible. I mean, because we really had people every week doing the impossible, and so it was. I mean, I really agree with the person who commented on that, and I'm glad that you did. That's one of the remarkable things about the show, and I remain very, very proud of that aspect of it.
I'd just like to talk about that. It's something I know I've said a lot in my personal life to a lot of my friends and family, and to a lot of people at cons who showed up with that. Having an opportunity to work with some of the most extraordinary craftsmen and women in an industry that is filled with talented people. Beauty and the Beast was blessed with the best of the best. And it was never so more evident than when we moved at the end of the first season to Vernon, where we had men and women that were literally in their cars every morning driving from Canyon Country past the studios where they could all work for the same amount of money on some other shows, past Warner Brothers and past Universal and past Disney, past Hollywood, where they could work at another set of studios, past downtown Los Angeles to Vernon. After, at some point, getting stuck behind a train at 6:40 in the morning when the railroad cars pulled through to come to work on Beauty and the Beast was not driven by a paycheck. It was driven by the same experience and magic that you all feel, and it started with Ron, and it really was something that I can only hope that I can be blessed with that opportunity to work with such committed, passionate, and loving people about what it is that we're bringing to the project. I'm just glad it's something that I can say that I had a hand in and enjoyed moments with. Exhausted you all?
No.
Yes. Okay, we'll be right back.
I was just wondering if the season or the whole show wouldn't have ended the way that it did. Was there any particular direction that they had, or a vision that they had as far as the way that they wanted the relationships to evolve, or the story itself that had been talked about, prior to going back?
By they, you mean the network?
No.
The writers.
The writers.
In terms of the third season?
Yeah, but like, I don't know, early in the second season or something, before things started sort of taking a different direction. Yeah.
Are you referring to Linda leaving particularly? Because that was really...
Right. Before, like, if Linda wouldn't have left, if Linda could have
before
stayed.
that? Well, I think right away, at the very beginning of the season, I think the network particularly was the second season.
The problem we had with the second season, the beginning of the second season, is we really didn't have a clear vision of where we wanted the show to go. And
We do.
I mean, we had a lot of input from you, and believe me, that was in many ways that was more important than, because at that point the network really didn't. We had total freedom from CBS at that point, and the ratings were good, and they never truly understood the show. So as long as we were getting good ratings, they completely left us alone. I mean, we had an hour of prime think that part of it was my experience, and part of it was the strangeness of the show, is that there were so many different possibilities that we really didn't have a very clear avenue of what the second season was going to be. At a certain point, though, I don't know, 4 or 5 shows into it, we started to realize that. And at that point, we started looking for those threads. And I think that what culminated in the trilogy at the end of the second season was things that we started to fool around with at that point. But exploring Vincent's nature and his duality, and how that would impact on the relationship, and his view of the relationship, and all of those things. And clearly, we knew that you wanted to see more of that, and that was important. But I don't know. I mean, I think that there were so many possibilities. Maybe there was an over-embarrassment of riches there, and we had to learn our way. But at a certain point, I remember using the metaphor of an ocean liner. We had begun this journey, and then at a certain point, I don't know, I think it may have been after the 5th show of the second season, we realized that we had to turn the thing, and it had to turn gradually, otherwise it would tip over. So that's what we started to do.
Well, that's,
Remember that? Was that pretty accurate?
yeah, that's about what I remember of it. But I think also the trilogy wound up also, I think, being the culmination of a lot of themes you had always wanted to get to. The New York as the city primeval, and it really was, like, I think, the fullest realization of those themes. And yeah, and the 3rd season is another question entirely. Yes.
Given what you just talked about the second season, I was wondering, looking out to what might be produced in the future, I'm wondering if your vision of the future is as clear or muddy as it might be. I mean, do you have a sense of where you'd like to take it already? I don't want to know what it is, and I don't think you're going to tell us, but is it there already in your mind, or do you feel, again, that you might hear the way you were at the start of the second season? Well, I don't know where I want.
It would really depend. If it's going to be a series of movies or a 4-hour, obviously, if it's going to be a 4-hour mini-series, the first thing we've got to address is how to bring Catherine back into the show. At that point, then I think, it's obviously, if we're able to pull that off and, assume that that'll be the first 2 hours, then what do you do with the rest of the show? I think, obviously, what's happened is going to impact on their relationship in a big way. So it's going to be it would change the relationship in some fundamental way. How, I'm not sure, but I think that obviously that's the task that we would have to face in those first few hours. After that, I'm not sure. I think now we just have to address those first 2 or 4 hours.